Pies footy, give up on the boys, nah, why would we? Lines fell like my name, Dane Swan, call me Sam Rocker, I'm lacing bombs, the G fly, like Bobby in 23, Boo a champ, that's the king, Pendlebury, take off like Dacos, give the man a chance, stay fresh like Quaino, I'm his #1 fan, then fly we trust, yeah, that's real, ain't a bottom side, nah, that's still side bottom, check these rhymes that I'm dropping, my great uncle played for the Pies, Teddy Potter, I'm kicking straight, like Billy Elliot, Kane wrote us off, silly idiot, the Pies are coming, young and old, big ups and cassette, the general, Pies footy, we all love that, Pies footy, give up on the boys, nah, why would we? Good on Collingwood forever, they know how to play the game, side by side we stick together, to uphold the Magpies name, see the barricades are shouting, as all barricades should, oh, the premiership's a king, walk with the good on Collingwood, after Maggie, Yahoo!
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to the Pies Presser. We're proudly sponsored by TSNL Neon, Melbourne's trusted signage specialist for commercial LED and neon signage. For more information, the link is in the description. Happy Tuesday, ladies and gents. We are 20 minutes earlier today as far as going live. We're usually locked in for the 6 p.m. slot. However, I didn't expect the tribunals to start this early. So we have a live tribunal update like tracker that the Fox Sports essentially has. So we're going to pop it on the screen here just so we're on top of it. Okay. So where are we at with the tribunal right now? Let's go. So should Scott Pendlebury's ban be downgraded? What do you think? Hello, everyone. Scott's Pendlebury's first ever tribunal hearing is upon us. We are scheduled to commence at 5 p.m., which is in 6 minutes. So that was then, right? Here's the thing. There's commentary around this not needing to go longer than 5 minutes. I'll tell you what, we're 40 minutes into this and we're still going. So Collingwood, this is David Zito, who's actually at the case right now. Collingwood says this is not rough conduct. If it is, the Pies say his exemplary playing record is exceptional and compelling enough to warrant a sanction different to a one-match ban. This is incredibly rare. The AFL has just admitted Pendlebury's record could constitute exceptional and compelling circumstances. Scott Pendlebury will now give evidence. Pendle says he's never been suspended in his professional career, nor in his junior football career or junior basketball career. Pendle's also said he braced for an inevitable collision and felt that if he didn't, both he and Josh Worrell could have knocked each other out, which seems reasonable. As far as the defense goes, Pendlebury said he wasn't even aware he made contact with Worrell's head. He only realized when he was informed of his suspension. Pendle's asked if Worrell's okay. Upon hearing of the head contact, he does not confirm if he brought flowers to the Worrell household. Okay. Pendle says if he didn't turn his body to brace, he and Worrell would have run head first into each other. Pendlebury says he was frustrated Bo McCreary was running through the space in the contest, but don't tell Bo I said this, but he doesn't have a left foot. So that's assuming that in the contest, Bo was steaming out of within the contest and was about to exit on his left foot, which is why Pendles was disappointed. So probably messed up a few things in that moment, leading to a rash decision or a split-second decision where Pendles braces, right? The AFL argues, so 9 minutes ago, the AFL argues Pendles elected to bump. Tribunal Chair Jeff Gleeson notes if Pendles had elected to bump, it's unusual that he put his left hand out to protect himself. The AFL maintains Pendlebury had his right arm tucked in and leant in, constituting a bump. The Pies, so this is just a minute ago. The Pies say Pendle's case has 3 limbs, not a bump. If a bump, he was contesting the ball in a reasonable manner and contact with head was caused by circumstances outside his control. If upheld, exemplary record should see penalty changed. This is incredibly unusual, isn't it? I mean, unusual, but we've come to grasp that this is just what it is these days with the mitigation, the risk mitigation and the laws that infiltrate our game. Anyone within their right mind, Collingwood fan or not, would probably agree that there was zero intention with the way that contest panned out. No ill intention on Pendle's behalf. That is a conversation that will never come to fruition, in the sense that it's never going to be that simple and that cut and dry, because there are extenuating circumstances beyond this case where the AFL are trying to cover their ass with the concussion ongoing suit or whatever it was, dating back X amount of years as well. So look, there's that which we're fighting against. So Collingwood are dotting, AFL are dotting their I's and crossing their T's. It's interesting, isn't it? You might even swear tonight, Benny. Welcome, my friend. They might make an example of him being round 1. I mean, what example does it make? Truthfully, like it's like, as Ben says here, this is a big mockery, a farce. 5 to 10 minutes and it will be dismissed. Garbage to even bring it up. And yet we are 45 minutes into this case and we're still going. This is a joke, to put it kindly. I'll check Twitter to see if there's any other, I guess, feedback from anyone else, but we're going to get it out of the horse's mouth, being David Zeta. Frustrating. 427 games. He is the example. I agree, Farm. I 100% agree with that. It's quite simple. If anything, surely recognizing that he hasn't had a suspension in all his games means he doesn't have any malicious intent when it comes to being on the field. So when you tie that in with what we've seen, that is the situation. Yeah. It's ridiculous. Did Worrell go? Is he out with concussion? Did he have to do a test? Did he pass the test? Because I know they care about that. Anyone see the Mac Andrew example brought up from last week that had nothing to answer for? No, I didn't see that, Benny. I didn't see that, to be honest. Interesting. So as this unfolds, we also had a bit of information around Crispy hoping he can. I think he's daring to reach age 40 in the midst of all this massive record-breaking season for Pendles. He comes out and says, "Hey, the way the club's helped me manage my body and the way I'm playing, I want to play till I'm 40." And what was the most interesting thing of all was the fact that he's nearing a trigger clause that will allow him to play or automatically extend his contract by another year. So his contract is set to run out at the end of this year, but he has a trigger clause which will likely see him at the club until at least the end of 2027. So just keep that, guys. Let's keep that in mind, because when we talk contracts and all that at the end of the year, we do need to remember this key piece of information. Greatness says it makes the whole good bloke rule a joke. So many have had better outcomes because of the good bloke rule. People who aren't in the category of good blokes. All right. Collingwood says Pendlebury's exemplary record should be taken into account, conveniently leaving out when he attempted to murder a pigeon. All right. David Zeta's got jokes. Zeta's got jokes on the Tribunal forum. That was when for those who don't know, and most of you should, if you don't, I'd be concerned. But I think that was a Collingwood North Melbourne game where Pendles bounced the ball on a pigeon. I think it was North Melbourne. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to turn on my fan just so my camera doesn't overheat. Hello there, Chronological. Zaza, how are you? XYO, if this was Toby Green, it's 2 weeks, Benny Zero. What are you talking about? The good bloke factor is garbage too. You either did the crime or didn't. Pendles didn't. Yeah, look, if you want to isolate it, like without knowing who the player is, what their history is, you should be able to tell in that situation there was no ill intent. It's quite simple. It's quite simple, isn't it? Hey, Janet, how you going? I know. We're supposed to be having a chill week off, and we are brought here today to sit through this garbage. That is the tribunal hearing for Pendle's attempted murder on Josh Worrell. Tribunal chair Jeff Gleeson notes if Pendlebury had elected to bump, it's unusual that he put his left hand out to protect himself. The AFL maintains. So do we have a picture? Do we have the picture of the incident? Anyhow. I want to see if I have a picture of the incident specifically. Prime example of media taking the pies as they know the result. I mean, the amount of like Cliff articles and videos that have come across me this week that I haven't clicked on about Collingwood. It's like they've pre-written these articles or videos, ideas before the result even happens so that they can just release it as needed. It's ridiculous. Let's go Pendlebury suspension. Photo, maybe? Images? I mean, so they're saying it's unusual that he put his left hand out. Yeah, look, if Pendles had elected to bump, it's unusual that he put his left hand out to protect himself. So that's a fair point. The tribunal chair. So that is essentially, guys, is that the person who's going to make the final call? Tribunal chair. Does anybody know exactly what their role entails in this process? Do you know what I mean? Gee whiz, no ill intent. I know. Crazy. Do a cheeky little refresh. What do you reckon? It's a 3-man panel, John. Okay. So is like, are there 3 tribunal chairs? Is that what it is? Essentially. Someone tried to argue the good bloke thing in the last few years. I can't remember if they got off or not. I think it was Charlie Cameron Zaza, but they've changed it. Like there's no such thing as a good character reference, but there is some sort of good bloke consideration. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the amount. Like, what's crazy, guys? The guy sitting in the chair. You've got jokes, Rick. XYO for me, it's a bump. Fair. Not everyone's going to agree in here. Yeah, as soon as we lose, it's Nick Dacos is going to Tassie. Collingwood look old and slow. Collingwood are falling off a cliff. So on and so forth. What's come to my mind since that game against Adelaide, and maybe it's something that's already been said by the expertise of the game, but I haven't mentioned it, but I thought about, okay, we're playing slow because if we play fast, then we will get burnt going the other way when we have a decimated backline, which is probably why we've been playing slow. So hopefully when we have like a Darcy Moore and or a Jeremy Howe or Reef McInnes, we can put some more chips down on the table offensively. In saying that, we did play slow for the most part last year as well. So like, take it with a grain of salt when I say that. So last update was 5 minutes ago. And still nothing quite just yet. Nakos isn't going anywhere. Sam McClure is a felcher. What does a felcher mean, Vic Park? What does that mean? Dacos would be stupid to sign a long term now with new broadcast deals and salary cap increase coming. People don't mention that. Well, the CBA is reviewed every year, isn't it? The bargaining agreements, like the salary cap and whatnot. Broadcast deals, you say? I would have thought we'd be waiting for next year to sign Dacos, as we'll have hopefully even more money available in the bank once we see like a Howe or a side bottom or a Pendles or two of the three retire. I think he'll get off, but in the chance he doesn't, Fly should use the opportunity to blood swaddling against GWS. GWS, they haven't had much success at the old Marvel Stadium, so it's two teams who don't perform very well at Marvel. So that will be funny to watch. So annoying, the talk that goes on. We always wonder about. Yeah, that's why. More and more, I'm like just turning a blind eye to everything else. Do not look up Felcher. Can't say it on YouTube. Okay. Pendles is the Roger Federer of AFL, says Dan. Surely he gets the good bloke treatment by the tribunal. Mate, we'd like to think so. We're hoping common sense will prevail. Rick says, coming from Sam McClure, who never gets anything right, then tries bagging our list. He couldn't get any support from Bartel or Matthew Lloyd. Yeah. Boomer says, do not look up Felcher. Okay. John, come on, Anthony. Giants have an excellent record at Marvel. I hope you're being sarcastic, right? I'm pretty sure they have a terrible record. No, John? I mean, they've been pumped. Firstly, they've been pumped by Bulldogs twice. It can't be unseen once seen, says Boomer, and Zazo's on her way to check. AFL tables, GWS. Okay, let's have a look. So their record as it stands. Let's have a look. Do we have a stadium? Well, who's been at the club for Marvel Stadium record or something? You looked it up. I'm not looking it up. GWS venue records, Marvel Stadium. Where are you, baby? Or will they call it the Docklands? 14 wins and 21 losses. It's not bad, right? What's that win percentage? It's actually not bad for an away team, isn't it? But recent memory serves that they've been pumped twice by the Bulldogs at Marvel. 40% win percentage. Okay. Collingwood are now showing a series of slides with GPS data noting the deceleration of Pendle leading up to contact. Here we go. Jared Wade has entered the chat. Jared Wade, he's walked in with his slides. He's got his GPS data. He's got the decelerations indicating that Pendles tried to slow down in that very moment. There you go. Here we go. Science has come into play. Let's see if science stands the test. Stuart says Pendles was the only one going for the ball and continued after the impact. Did they really ask him about his basketball background? Did they? Let me check. Oh, by the way, we know who. Okay, we got more information. Miles Tehan represented Collingwood with Albert Dinelli representing the AFL in front of a tribunal panel of Jeff Gleeson, Darren Gaspar, and good old David Neitz from the Melbourne Demons. Okay, so there's that. Any basketball? I think Pendles mentioned that in his junior basketball career, he'd never been suspended, but there's no mention of basketball background here. Let's see. Nothing. Okay, so as of 3 minutes ago, this is where we're at. Well, that would make sense, Stuart. Is Sam McClure Mark McClure's son? That would make total sense. Mark McClure is the guy who played for Carlton and was also on like Fox Footy or something. The cleanest version equals the Americanized form of the German Feldscher, army surgeon. Was it even a free kick? I don't believe so, Farm. No, yes, what? Sorry. You don't know, yes? They used his good record from Bart. Yeah, that's what they did. Surnames are spelt differently, so they're not the same. They're not from the same family, Sam and Mark. Different spelling. So who's the father then? Who's the father, Stewie? Who's the father? Are you the father? Remember, do you guys remember, what was it? Jerry Maguire? Was it Jerry Maguire or Jim Maguire? That show where like they'd do the genetic test and they'd go Benny 0. The results are in. And I can confirm you are not the father. Is it Eddie? Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer, I think it is. Imagine you get a peach and put some scream in the middle and suck it out. You know what? I'm gonna save that for a different time. Jerry Springer, Benny's all over it. There we go. Yeah. Jerry Springer. What a waste of resources and everyone's time. I know. And yet here we are, and yet here we are, Voidoid. Here we are. Benny, you want to jump on for a chat? Come share your if you want, I'll put the link in the description, mate. Invite guest. If you want to jump on, you're welcome to. Let me know and I'll put a link in. Nah, and Sam has said it on his podcast. I believe it annoys him too when it's brought up. I mean, same industry. Jerry. Yep. Zaza's all over it. Jeff McClure is his dad, a print journalist. Okay. Talbot, welcome. Happy Tuesday, Talbot. Us Collingwood Hopeless are here to patiently, it seems, await this result. We thought it would take 5 minutes. It started at 5 p.m. It's now 6:02. What's going to come out of this is the fact that this took longer than an hour to deliberate. It was a British show that did that. Trying to think of his name. Now, it was Jerry Springer as well, the farm. Welcome to fam. Science. Still nothing past the 6-minute mark. Shawnee, I'll get you on after Benny if we have time. I just want just 2 people on at the same time. I don't want to have too many people on at this at once. Clarkson? I knew it had to be a Nepo thing with Sam McClure because he's rather talentless. He's probably one of my least favorite because I just don't think he reveals anything that has weight behind it. Maury, that's the one, Gibbo. Maury, that's the OG. Maury. Yeah. I'm with you. Here we go. Benny Zero has entered the chat.
Yeah, you're keeping me sane today, mate.
Yeah?
I should. If I went to Jits tonight, someone would have died. I would have heard that over the phone and just lost it. No, of course not.
What a disaster. Hey, Collingwood says Pendlebury record barely needs repeating. Collingwood then proceeds to repeat Pendlebury's record. What more can we do?
Honestly, I hate the idea that he will get off based on the record. You either did it or you did or you didn't. I hate the idea of like good record gets you off because unless there's somewhere in black and white, what's a good record? 200 games? All right, well, you get a get out of jail free card, do you? No, you either did it or you didn't, and it's ridiculous to say that was a bump. Like, this is not a bump, right? Yeah.
What do you do? And here we are. Yet here we are, almost hinging our hopes on the fact that they will acknowledge the exemplary record.
Yeah. Now, I'd like to think that the other arguments will win the discussion on this one. Give me 1 sec.
You're right. I'm sure we'll get context around the outcome and how they got to a certain point. Collingwood note the record of some other 400 gamers. Brent Harvey was suspended for 12 matches. Sean Burgoyne was suspended for 6 matches. Dustin Fletcher was suspended for 20 matches. Collingwood, Scott Pendlebury, 0. Old mate Charlie Cameron, old mate Country Road got off for being a good bloke, yes. Elder Manny, Pies shouldn't allow him to get off based on his record. I want him cleared off the actual bump as well. You know what? Let's get Shawnee's dying for a chat, so we'll get Shawnee in as well. Give me 1 second.
He needs to swear on my behalf, so yeah, get him on.
Are you fuming, Benny? With the way
Internally, yeah. You should have heard me at my mum today. I was going, if this goes ahead, I'm going to lose it.
What are you actually going to do, Benny? Tell me. What are you going to do? I'm curious.
I don't know. Maybe some sort of protest. Like, I don't know. I might have 2 kombuchas tomorrow instead of 3. Like,
dearie me.
Some sort of sacrifice.
I thought you were going to say like a cigarette or something. That would really
oh goodness.
That would be something.
That requires to take premierships.
Hey. What's going on, guys? Yeah. Also, just hearing about the science. Apparently, we're going to start using science. So yeah, we're starting to get a bit of we're starting to break bad here. So yeah, so that's going to be pretty interesting.
What do you make of the situation, Greatness?
I don't really have any thoughts towards it, to be honest. I think we all know he's going to get off. How it happens, doesn't really matter. I just think it's
how certain are we that he gets off? To you, Greatness, to you, Benny, and to the chat. How certain are we? How much faith do we have in this system, though?
99.8% sure that he gets off. I think there's that small doubt just because I think this is more of a media thing. I think media are trying to push this because this is what gets them their attention. This is what makes them click. It gets people to click on their articles, all that stuff.
So this is just all
I think it's all just a bit of drama, a bit of there is that like 0.2% where it's just like just because I do feel like that there are certain reporters out there that do like to twist the knife a little bit. And if they had the call, they would definitely put Pendlebury out for a week. But I think that's just more. I think that's just because of the envy, I guess, of being a Collingwood player. But
Collingwood tax.
Especially. I mean, I can name names, but there's certainly reporters out there that that if they could push this result in a certain direction, that they wouldn't even hesitate. In fact, I think they are trying to do it. They're just terrible at doing it. If
Nick
anything,
Park goes, Jared Wade wants him suspended to help his loads. You know what? Well, that means he gets 2 weeks of conditioning. So that'd be nice.
Good call.
Good call. If all else fails, it's just management. We'll just list him as managed for the game against GWS as opposed to suspended. But nothing better than a bit of bold and a beautiful in the way of the AFL Tribunal on a Tuesday evening on our bye week.
Yeah.
I'm glad they're getting it out of the way now and not waiting.
Yeah, but isn't there a game coming up soon where there's like a 5-day break? I think it was I'm pretty sure we had a chat about this where it was the Hawthorn game. I think there was like a 5-day break going to the Hawthorn.
Anzac Day to Hawthorn.
And then the week after we played Geelong, which I'm pretty sure. I mean, there might be one, but at least in recent memory, I can't think of a milestone match Pendlebury hasn't had that hasn't been against Geelong. Because I'm pretty sure we play Geelong the next week. So whenever we get a milestone match and it's against Geelong, I'm pretty sure we got a pretty good record whenever Pendlebury has a milestone game as well. So yeah,
his 400th game was on my 40th in 2024 in August, and it was against Carlton. And what's his name? McGovern missed that kick after the siren. He kicked it out in the full, and we won.
Yeah.
I can't believe that that's 2024. That genuinely feels like a couple months ago. SP 400, McGovern lines up after the game. Like that's wild to think we're like so far removed from that moment now.
I mean, even the flag was technically or 2.5 years ago.
Yeah,
and then
crazy.
the year before that in 22, that was 4 years ago. Like, having, even with like Dacos playing his first year, playing off halfback, basically doing the Houston and Josh Dacos role, that was 22, so that was 4 years ago. And we look at Nick now in terms of, I mean, he should have won a Brownlow, if not two already. It's just crazy how time just flies, and even from Dacos' first year, where that was 22, and like how much progress has he made?
Correct me if I'm wrong. If like in a world where Pendles unlikely gets suspended, are we hearing that there's a chance that we could swap our home and away with Geelong for that fixture to ensure that we get that as a home game?
Well, they wouldn't do that, would they?
I don't even know if they could do that.
Chris
it would all be locked in. Chris
told me in the chat that there's a world where that happens. Is it chat? Can anybody confirm that, or is that cap? Oh, the tribunal is now deliberating, by the way. So I'm because I know how the tribunal works, I would assume that means that we're going to have an outcome in the next 5 minutes, hopefully.
Perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, if the media have anything to do with it, they'll probably push it back 2-3 hours.
They'll
probably, especially with Zeta. Isn't the joke with Zeta that he likes to get snits at some point during the tribunal process as well? So I don't know. Maybe that might be
that's true.
Yeah.
What does that mean? Accommodate us in the way that they'll allow us for it to be our home game, or they will like sort of give a little bit more than what an away side would typically receive.
Probably
I'm not sure. This is all breaking news to me. So because I know we're trying to sell some Marvel games up to the Gold Coast, but I haven't heard anything about Geelong. The game in Geelong. I don't even know if people should be doing that, because like if the fixture's locked in, wouldn't like you just want to just play out the fixture? Like I feel like it's a little bit. I think you're looking after someone like Pendlebury a little bit too much in that aspect, and we can always. I mean, he'll definitely get off here, and we can always just rest him for the Hawthorn game, and then he plays Geelong anyway. I just don't. Yeah.
I kind of thought that might be our plan from the get-go.
Yeah.
Here it is. Geelong were offering, but seat allocation and lead onboards around the ground can't be changed, apparently. Okay, so it sounds like they want to be generous, but they're tied to certain contractual agreements in some ways. And the
sponsors LED and such, yeah.
Oh, so like, are they trying to like turn that game into a Collingwood home game so more Collingwood supporters could go? Is that what they're trying to do?
Hard to truly tell, but it seems like that was some conversation. If the Pies want to appeal this goes into the next day. This doesn't continue into the night, does it? Or it does, John?
Separate hearing in front of a whole different crowd.
Oh dear. Can we get a ticket to that?
There'll be nothing left of the joint, mate. I'm going to explode.
Mate, could you imagine if Manny was at the tribunal and he was speaking on Pendle's behalf?
You'd need 3 or 4 Hulks just to hold him back.
Yeah.
Have you seen the court videos where people like jumping over like the tables like to get like certain people and stuff? I could see Manny doing that. He's like, Pendles gets suspended for a week, and you have someone like Manny jumping over the table to, I guess, serve his justice.
Pure LCD. I haven't been to the footy in ages, and I want to see Pendles break the record. What tickets do I buy? Well, that's a good question because that's still up in arms as of 6:14 p.m. But hopefully, well, I mean, like more than just finding out what happens now, we also don't know if they will manage Pendles to a certain point and then have him available for certain game. We're not too sure.
I'll give you the silver lining. After he breaks the record, every week he sets the new record, so you can go to any of them.
There you go. That's huge.
Yeah, I kind of thought at the start of the year we might rest him twice and do it against West Coast so we can guarantee a win. But I like knocking off Hawthorn, an old rival, a monkey on the back, just to really make it a special night if we could.
Appeal would
Anzac
likely
Day
be
would have
next
been the
week.
best.
Can I just stand if it's a shit pot? Yeah, there's a standing area, LCD. There's actually a group of Pie supporters who chant in the drinking area. Do we know if they've got a name, Benny? If you know what I'm talking about?
Nah,
No idea.
I'm that quiet guy near the cheer squad. I don't go up with the aggro blokes in case I get my head kicked in.
You only know the wee girl. That's the only person.
Yeah.
That's the only person you're familiar of when it comes to tunes around the crowd, huh?
Yeah. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it, eh?
Yeah. How's it looking, Archie? The tribunal is now deliberating. We have no idea. Look, we're like it's seemingly we're all pretty confident that if he doesn't get by on the action, he'll get by through his exemplary record. But we're nearly there. I think it's been over an hour.
Yeah, that message came out 5 minutes ago. It's saying so. Yeah, it shouldn't be too far away.
Yeah, currently 5 minutes to go. Appeal would be tomorrow night, says Rick. Actually, a few ideas of when the appeal might be, but maybe. But we're thinking about that Charlie Cameron good character reference stuff. That action that tackle wasn't great. So this is surely, if you want to compare that with what we're dealing with right now, surely there's some common sense that will prevail. That tackle was brutal. I just watched it. Says Zaza. That's what I'm saying. Tribunal's breaking down. It's collapsing, says Benny.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Voidoid says, I've lifted more than John Holmes with a packet of Viagra. So who's John Holmes? Somebody help me out here.
No, I've got no clue.
Sherlock's lesser known brother?
Gotcha.
No, it's a joke. I have no idea.
I tell you what, boys, we wouldn't be fucking doing well on a trivia stand right now.
Yeah.
Charlie,
John Holmes, a packet of Viagra. Probably an adult entertainer then, right?
Maybe. Yep, there we go.
Oh, there you go. Prime people saying, yeah, okay.
Yeah, few of the older lads they're with it. They're all with it. Look at this, as if I should know. As if I'm into adultery scenes. Come on, guys. Ella Manny Oriental Nato. Just don't get the pigeon to testify.
Oriental. That's a throwback, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, do you guys remember the footage that we had a couple of years ago where like the pigeon was gonna do something, and like there was someone dressed up in like a pigeon costume? They did a whole series on it each week, where the pigeon was staring down Pendlebury at training and stuff. But I'm pretty sure they didn't have a result at the end of that. They didn't finish off the that series, because that was actually funny as hell. Where the pigeon would just be staring down Pendlebury at each training session.
No, I haven't. I actually can't recall that, but I'm sure someone.
It was a couple of years ago, but it was just some of the most funniest content.
Yeah. John Holmes was the opposite of Bonnie Blue. So, I mean, one was the giver, and one's the receiver, right? So 8 minutes of the tribunal deliberating, and still no outcome. No update from David Zeta. I'm not even that old, says Voidoid. Isn't Boogie Nights pretty much about? Hey, quiet.
I've seen Boogie Nights.
Is that a movie?
Yeah, that's a movie, isn't it? No, I haven't
Star-studded.
seen it.
Is it like a 90s or 80s? What are we saying?
Oh, it's like what's his name? Bloody Howard Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah,
Mark Wahlberg, or did you say someone else, Ben?
yeah. Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
In an 80s movie, was he a kid back then?
No. It's like late 90s or early 2000s. Like early. If it's either early or I think it's 90s though. I'm looking up.
Rick goes, it's taking longer because the tribunal panel are getting their memorabilia signed by Pendles. That's gold. That's a good one. They're just in awe.
Yeah.
That is funny. So as we patiently await this result, we are a few days past what we saw on Saturday. One of my reflections post 48 hours of the game was, okay, well, maybe we're playing slow because we're trying to protect our defense, which is what we did for the most part last year with our game plan. Is there any sort of takeaways that you guys have come to since say Sunday night?
I'm sorry, I completely missed what you just said. I'm trying to read the chat at the moment.
Benny?
Yeah.
Any reflections?
That's it hadn't popped into my head the words protect our backline, but that's quite intuitive actually. That's almost put myself at ease a little bit, because I actually thought, we can't be continuing with the slow stuff from last year that didn't work most of the time. When we've shown glimpses of when we run and gun and cut up through the middle with our hands, which it's clearly our best ball movement speed wise is by hand, not by foot like some other teams. When we weren't doing it and going wide, I'm like, why are we still doing this? And it's like, well, that might have been the key word, just to protect our defense and not get that quick turnaround, get numbers up the ground. I was thinking about Nick's game as well, and he had a lot of it and still got some good coaches' votes and whatnot. But he went at about 60% from what I looked up, and sometimes I think from where he is on the ground, it's quite a dangerous area. So for him to have turned it over way more than normal, and they hurt us on the rebound. They had something like 20 shots from turnover, which is huge. Some of the boys where we turned it over were just bad spots. That one right before half time, I think it was Bruzzy kicked it straight into the middle, turnover, bang. It was, I think, Thilthorpe or Fogarty got the goal.
Yeah, Fogarty.
That sort of stuff was the story of our night. And I think, at times we were playing that old safe style, which, I mean, honestly, we like it at the end of the game when it's time to shut it down. But I think we want to see the fast pace. Let's get it. Let's cut through. Give our forwards a chance when there's plenty of space, because it's too crowded when we move slow. So, but I think the way you said protect forwards, that sort of jingled something in my head then, and I'm like, that's kind of relieving in a way. Yeah,
protect backline with the way we use the ball. That way, when we do turn it over, we're set up quite well. But take it with a grain of salt, because we also played like that for the most part last year anyways. So that's why I'm not sold on that sort of comforting idea that we're protecting our backline, which will have some truth to it. As we get further and further away from the games and we look at other teams and how they're operating, I think there's a world where at some point this year, like, we may not see McStay. We might not see two of those three key forwards playing at the same time for a long period of time in this course of this season. So like we could be looking at, bleeding a Charlie West, and maybe you keep a McStay or a Buller, but you, at least out of McStay, Membry and Buller, you're probably not going to see two of those three players finishing off the season. I think you finish off the season with a Charlie West and a Buller or a McStay. I think while we're not ready to like omit Tim Membry, right now, I don't think. I think there's a chance he isn't in this team at the end of the season. But that's where I'm at with our forward line at the moment.
I can absolutely see that. Yeah.
Mm.
I don't blame them all that much. I think our entries were terrible. You know, like
That
I
as
said,
well.
Nick he torped one in, which went nowhere. And in the fourth quarter, he had this awesome break from the center. And like I said, kicked it over Geordie's head. Like, what are you meant to do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
There's two parties. It takes two to tango, as we know.
Oh, yeah.
When we
Connection.
see the... Sorry, were you saying something, Ben?
Sorry, yeah,
Was that
connection. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. I think when we are efficient going inside forward 50, because that will come back in some capacity, that's when we can find out, okay, when Buller has opportunities to clunk his marks and kick his goals, can he do it? When McStay gets ample opportunity to clunk and kick, can he do it? Because we are historically a really efficient side going inside 50. Let's see if they can uphold that. So we'll get our scoring shots, but will they convert into goals like they did in years gone by? Even last year, we weren't the greatest scoring team, but we had an incredible defensive wall. So a bit to see.
Yeah. And it's round 2. Oh, round 1. Second game. So plenty to play out.
Yeah, and then for the forward line, there's also the option of even throwing like Steen in there too, because like we know he can play forward at times, which can then, you know, instead of having someone be like a forward ruck out of a McStay or Buller, they can then be, you know, the type that plays in the forward like full time.
Are you making those changes now though, Ben, Sean? Those two changes?
I mean, if it was me in the seat, I would have done them straight away. But yeah, it's one thing where you've got to, you can't put players into a team and then take them out straight away. Otherwise, if you do, it just means that things haven't come close to, like, you know, going to plan. And then if that's the case, obviously the players will know that, and then there's like the mental and emotional aspect of that. So I think you do need to back them in for...
So Steen in?
Yeah, well, I would probably throw Steen in. I think even someone like a McStay, I know he's technically not in the leadership group, but they obviously see him, you know, in and out of that role in some sense. Otherwise he wouldn't have gotten the role last year. So it is a bit sort of hard from a fly point of view to see him out of it. But, you know, if you take out like a Tim Membry, you put in someone like Steen does the second ruck and goes forward, then, because, you know, we saw McStay even float down back for a little bit at times too. So it's just putting someone like a McStay into a role where he just stays as the key forward. You know, you have that, you have Buller, you know, you have a bit of certainty, and, you know, I think the structure is also a bit better when those two are pretty much basically like the two main forwards, because you also need height, like especially to contest the mark. Like I know Elliott's had his moments and stuff, but on paper and from a structural sense, you need those guys that are, you know, I think Buller's 199, Steen's I think 200 or around there. Sorry, and then McStay is 195. So the fact that there's a bit of height there, you can sort of work with it from a structural point of view. So, and then as we move forward, if Steen is doing well and then McStay is not doing as well, then that's probably where, you know, West will probably have a good like month, maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months in the VFL. But we'll probably get to see like a bit of the. I think the picture will start to open up a bit more once we get those games, which we're not going to get till the Giants week. So till then, we're just kind of obviously the club will know internally like what's going on. But I feel like once the VFL games can go, then, you know, we can also see what's going on. So I think, especially because also Western played I'm pretty sure Western played the practice match last Saturday either. So that's also probably not a good thing because you want him to get as many games into him as possible. So he's match fit as well. But yeah.
In saying that, Sean, the one thing that Steen, and we'll tie this in with Zaza's $5. Thank you for that. DC is getting smashed in the center. Surely they bite the bullet and just play Steen. He can actually jump, and he can't do worse than DC in the center for the center bounce or center throw up. What works in Steen's favor for the game against GWS is the fact that Steen's already played against him in the preseasons, and he went relatively okay. So maybe you jump the gun there and give him an opportunity, and then West can probably, you ask West to do a bit more of a job over the next coming games in the VFL, and then he asked the question of, say, a McStay or a Buller, whereas naturally I think Oscar Steen will be asking the question of Tim Membry's spot, although not for like. Benny?
Yep.
Sorry, I tuned out for a second.
Yeah,
Dealing with kids off camera. Sorry.
No, you're okay, mate. You're good. But a very good point there, Zaza. Like that's a real possibility going into GWS. I think the next 6 weeks will be pretty. We're going to have to make some strong observations and make some strong decisions off the back of that. And an update from David Zeta: the Tribunal is still deliberating. That's the update. The update is there's no update.
Yeah.
What do we think about this one? Peter says McStay to centre half back, West in. Membry out. If Howe gets fit, he can play forward. More plays defender, free to intercept. Start planning for a forward line with Ben King. We have a first round pick. I don't know if they're gonna see Ben King. I don't know if they're gonna see McStay in the back line. He's hardly trained there. He swings down their back sometimes. Just look that really is a short term plug. I think we're probably more hoping that Darcy Moore, Jeremy Howe, and Reef can hold down the centre half back position.
Yeah. Also, so with King's also a free agent, so we don't need to give up any draft picks. And I don't think Gold Coast are going to match anything that we dish up cash wise. Because I think when it comes like a Zach Butters, I just don't see Ben King in the same light. So because you can probably get 2 first-round picks out of Butters, maybe even 3 potentially, that's probably where you probably will see. Because I think a team does match every couple of years. Like Jeremy Cameron's one that springs to mind. So he seems pretty locked at the Dogs, so the Dogs have to figure that out. But I think with someone like a Ben King, albeit he's, obviously a bit of a talent and stuff, but I just don't see Gold Coast. I feel like the only time a club will match it is if it is someone that's like basically a superstar player. So someone like a Butters probably makes sense. So even though Ben King is also like a restricted free agent, but it's like when you talk about the percentages, you're talking, I don't even think it's like 10% of teams that will match.
Really?
The players going out. Yeah. So
that would assume that in this case, like if it gets to the postseason, you would almost assume, okay, if they're a restricted free agent and they haven't signed by then another club's going to come swooping in with a really good offer that they're not going to be able to match. I mean, we just got a tweet from, where is it? It's very relevant to what we're talking about. Tom Morris. Ben King's decision is less about football and more about lifestyle for him and his partner. Collingwood, Hawthorn, and Geelong interested. Suns would love a decision, ideally him staying, so they can navigate Jed Walters' next contract. So they're wanting to sort out the Ben King contract before the season ends. And if it isn't sorted out by season's end, I think we can assume that Gold Coast will kindly not match the offer to let Ben King go home as well. So there's probably that part as well, Sean, don't you think? Like there is the Collingwood are going to offer good money that maybe Gold Coast will find difficult to match, but they'll also acknowledge that he wants to go home.
Yeah. And again, if like King signs, then we'll probably go after Walter. Like, I mean, this info I've held on to a fairly long time. So, and it's from someone that isn't at the club anymore, at least where the information came from. So, But I know around the draft we really liked Walter. Obviously, we didn't have pick 3, because I know I said he was pick 1 the other day. I got that wrong because I got him confused with Cadman. But yeah, I think he was pick 3 in his draft, and that was one of the ones that Derek Hine wanted. So if that is obviously with Derek Hine not being at the club and stuff, we'll sort of see if that interest is like still there. Because once you bring in a whole new I don't know what's the word, cast of people. Now that we've got Aubrey and his crew in there, whether if they have the same intentions or not, we'll obviously see. But I think it's one of those probably ones where I don't think we'll be fussed either way. Like we either get a player that will be ready to play straight away, but more in a future sense in Walter, or we get a ready-made player ready to go to start day one in Ben King. I think it's one of those situations where we'll probably go
Bradley
after
Humphrey and Zach Bailey.
Yeah, then there's
the conversation.
And then so I guess it also just depends on how much with Walter as well, how much he's worth, because I think he only got drafted 3 years ago potentially. So
I think Gold Coast will probably for his potential as well.
Yeah, it won't be like a top 5 pick or anything because he hasn't done anything. But I think they'll definitely be wanting a pick in the first round. We'll probably start the conversation somewhere in the second round, and it'll probably end up maybe like a late first, which will probably be where our first round pick is.
I don't know about that. Well, when's he out of contract, Walter? Is he out of the contract this year? Or is he
I think it'll be a late first, early second type of area at the moment.
Well, if he's out of contract at the end of this year, then we're trading for him this year, then he won't require a pick.
No, you still have to trade for him. So when it comes to being out of contract, that only just means that if a deal doesn't go through, he then goes to the rookie draft, and then any club can pick him up in the rookie draft. Which
he's not a free agent,
non-free agent. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, and obviously we don't want that to happen because, it'll be like a North Melbourne or someone will pick him up before our pick. So, there's like a little bit of, it'll go into a little bit of both teams like favour and stuff, but because he's out of contract, if they're umming and ahhing, early second, late first. If he's out of contract, it'll probably go more towards the team offering the early second. But if he was contracted, then it'll probably favour more towards the late first.
Look, I don't know how I'm not completely sold on Walter just yet, but I don't think he's going to be anything less than a pick in the early 20s. No higher than the 20s. I think he's a pick 10 to 20. They'll get that from a club. They'll get that from some club.
Yeah, and especially with Walter, my only concern with Walter is the fact that he reminds me too much of Charlie Curnow. So whether if that's the type of key forward we need, or even some like a checker, sort of that, sort of like kind of second to third sort of tall. Like he has a pretty big body. Like it's his third year of AFL now, I believe. So he's had 3 preseasons. He's sort of in that. I feel like he's in that sort of bracket where he's still learning the game, but he's going to take that leaps like pretty soon. So whether if we take the risk on him, it also just depends on the cost. So as I said, like because he was such a high pick, they tend to go a little bit high. Like if they're like a top 5 pick, that they tend to stay in the first round at least for the first few years, like in terms of trade value. I don't think I agree with the John Patton take because he's I think because he's very he's very much that sort of strong in the contest. I know he's not 192. I think he's 194. I think from memory. I might look that up real quick actually, but
he's a big boy. He's a big boy.
Yeah. So he'll definitely be in terms of like strength in the contest. He definitely has that. Just quickly, just trying to get his height.
Zaza, they They're still deliberating. Correct. Yeah.
Yes, so he's 195 centimeters according to the Gold Coast website. Yeah, so
He could be good value. He could be good value. But if I had to ask you, based on need, based on reasoning, based on we need to be mindful that we also have to sign up Nick Dacos, what would you rank? And maybe I'll start with Ben first. Ben, you have Zach Bailey, Bailey Humphries, Ben King, Jed Walter, and is there someone else? Zach Butters. As far as your preference, give me 1 to 5 in order.
So was Nick Dacos included in that? Because he's easily my number one. Throw 2.5 at him. And early if you have to. I don't care. Generational, mate. Absolutely generational. There's no doubt about it. I'd throw his contract out and say, here's an extra. Take it. You're captain. You're this. You're us for life. Just cut this Tasmanian nonsense out of the equation in the next year or so, and it's done. Cool. After that, I like the idea of Butters, but apparently that's a no-go. Now, I was thinking in my head, would you rather throw the kitchen sink at someone like King, where there's a bit of genetic injury proneness in the family? I mean, his was an ACL, and that can happen to anyone, of course, the big one. Zach Bailey, in his prime, wow, how fantastic would that be? So he'd be high up as well, but it's probably Butters, Bailey, King, and then Humphries. If I could throw a question back at you guys, rather than throw the kitchen sink at the 1 or 2, would you rather have 2 of my lesser picks? No offense calling them lesser, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get both of them, like 2 at a lesser, because they're all going to present at a pretty high value. But as we get closer and closer and figure out the logistics of the possibilities of what it's going to take to keep Nick at the club, with that in mind, like, yeah, Ben King's there, but like if we were to settle for a Bailey Humphries or a Jed Walter at a lesser price to allow to keep Nick at the club, I am okay with that. But we are so far away. It is hard. Like, as far as superstar status goes, like Ben King kicked 70, 80 goals last year or whatever it was. Like, that's probably, it's hard to argue against that. But I think there's a bit to go under the bridge. But yeah, I'd say Nick, as you said, Ben, Nick, and then give me, if it works without knowing the true numbers of it all, give me Bailey Humphrey, and if not Bailey Humphrey, then give me Jed Walter, and then we'll go from there.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, King was on the end of some very fast ball movement last year. Suits his style. He has plenty of room. 1-on-1, not 1-on-2, That worked great for him, So we got to move the ball to suit him as well.
Yeah.
Suit our forward line, let's be honest.
Yeah. And the other thing to probably note as well, if we are giving up picks for someone like a Walter, I don't mind going after Walter because I don't think he's going to be that expensive. Like, I know, if we can say trade, say like a late first for him, but then also get a couple second round future picks, that should bode well going into the 27 draft, because we've got a lot of father sons and NGA players that are looking pretty promising.
We got Fraser. Who else do we have?
So in terms of this year, we got Nick Hobson. He actually got best on ground in a Oakley Chargers practice match the weekend just gone. So he's, again, like that could literally mean anything, whether that's superstar, whether that's fringe player, or like not even near it. It's sort of hard to say, but the fact he's getting like the best on ground for that game, at least that's like something he can hold his hat on. So yeah, we'll see how he goes from there. But and then the other one is Max Christian. Those are the guys for this year. I'm pretty sure those
Michael
are the
Christian's son.
Yeah, Michael Christian's son. So, and I think he had an older brother, Nick Christian, I believe. I think he got a couple of VFL games last year as well.
Are these guys in the picture at all? Like in the draft picture?
Max, I don't think so. from a realistic standpoint, I don't really see Max being in the draft picture, but Nick, I can definitely see being in the picture. But then again,
Nick
especially
Hobson, did you say?
yeah, Nick Hobson. He's a basically that. I don't know if I'd say small forward because he has a little bit of height for a small forward. I mean, I'd only be guessing his height, but I believe he's like mid to low 180. And sort of he's based like a forward that can potentially go in the midfield. But yeah, we'll sort of see when Oakley starts playing their games a bit more on him. The Rocket kids. I think they're still a few years away, so I'm not really like sort of looking at them too closely just because it's a bit too far away. And then the year after we've got Ted Fraser. So this is 2027. We've got Ted Fraser, Eli Kravik, Cooper. I keep forgetting his last, but it's a really long Italian name.
Team announced for this year yet?
No, I don't believe so.
That's later in the year, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm just looking it up now.
Yeah, I believe the Rocket Brothers I think they were 14 last year. So if they're 15, they'd be about 3 years away. And I did have a friend of mine, his kid actually played against I think it was Max Rocker, which is Anthony's kid, and yeah, he and that's the thing. He wasn't even a Collingwood fan, and yeah, he called me probably about like last year, and he was just like, yeah, geez, they've definitely got another one. He supports Sydney, just for context, and yeah, one of the first things he said to me is like, damn, they've got another one. So whether that happens or not, and it is a juniors game, I think they'll play under 14s, under 15s, something like that. So they play like a little bit of a carnival. Carnival, I think it was like mid-year. Mick, if you know anything by me, if I say it, I mean it. Unless if I'm absolutely laughing my ass off when I say something, I tend to stick by what I say. And yes, I do think Swaddling will be a sort of Buckley, Patrick Dangerfield sort of type, explosive beard, strong hips. And and I said that before. He also got the 9 disposals in that practice match too. Just want to make sure I've made that very clear.
We are.
It'll take a while, but yeah, he'll be one of our better players in 4 or 5 years.
I'm just looking at the Collingwood family ties in the 2026 draft pool. We have Goy Jath, who is obviously brother of TJ and CJ, and he's at Gippsland Power as an overager. There's Sam Gayfer, son of Mick Gayfer from the Northern Knights. Yep. Max Christian, Aidan McCartney, who's in the Sydney Swans Academy, son of Jason McCartney. Gabe Patterson, who's playing for Glenelg, which is the Sample, son of Stephen Patterson and brother of Violet, who plays for Collingwood's women's side. And then Boston Barrows, who plays for Claremont, son of Brendan Barrows, who never played a game for Collingwood but was listed.
Yeah, and I'm also hearing with Gabe as well too. Apparently, Gabe's a huge Pies fan. So even though he's in South Australia, don't worry, he's a massive Pies fan. So we'll sort of see where that sits at the end of the year, because I know he was touted like top 5, top 10 a few months ago. We'll sort of see how that tracks, because a lot of guys. I mean, I remember one year there was some key forwards that were ranked in I think they were both top 5 going the January going to their draft year, and the draft happened and they were lucky to be in the 3rd round. I think one of them actually even went 4th round even. So just because they're a top 5 pick in January doesn't mean that they'll be a top 5 pick in the draft. So a long way to go, and I'm sure a lot of stocks will rise, a lot of stocks will drop. So and then we'll sort of see how certain players go through champs and even just improvement. There'll be a lot of players a lot of kids that will improve. We'll just see.
You'd like to bloody think so in their youthful years. An update from David Zeta: the Tribunal is still deliberating. I reckon they've just remembered what he did to the Pigeon. So the longer this goes on, I don't again, is it theatrics? Or they genuinely not sure about this situation. Like, what are we saying? Like, this started at 5 p.m. Pendle's had meditation at 6:30. He's now postponed that to 7. He's probably not going to get into his cold water plunge until 9 p.m. tonight. He's probably pushing past his bedtime at 7:30. So I don't know where we're going with this, really.
Isn't it a joke? Oh
Yeah.
my god! Can you see my hair going grayer as we're sitting here?
Unbelievable.
I'm telling you, the media absolutely love it. The fact that they're able just to, waste our time and, having us all stress out, just, have a bit of a, I don't know, what do you call it? Just a emotional breakdown. They're sitting there being like, yep, these are the clicks and attention that we want. So,
yeah.
Credit to Sean for the info dump. It kept us distracted, that's for sure. Awesome work, mate. I didn't even think of it for like 10 minutes there. Good work.
Yeah, no, I mean, like it's especially as well too, like for the future, like we gotta make sure we keep our draft hands somewhat strong, because we got some from some of the things I've heard from some of the NJs and father sons coming through. As I said, I try not to like put too much stock if it's like more than like 3 years, even 2 years away, just because you just don't know when, if a kid is like 15, 16, you just don't know where they're going to be. You don't even know if they're going to get to 17 and they just go, oh, I'm just not interested anymore. Because there was a few kids that I know came through and then I just never saw them like again, sort of thing, like in terms of like their names and stuff. So I think they just
Browns and the Kellys and that.
No, well, not necessarily that. I'm trying to think of specific names, but I can't. There's nothing that's coming to mind. But there was a few kids that that were like, oh, okay, yeah, this kid might be a potential option in the 26 draft or 27 draft, like a couple of years ago. But then you don't hear their names and stuff, and it's okay, they obviously just weren't interested, or maybe they had other interests and stuff. Because we know the Buckley kids. The oldest one, I'm blanking on his name right now, but yeah, he was more into his like racing and stuff. So that's more of an interest to him, and yeah, all the best to him. And I think what was the youngest one? I think was Ace. Ace was the one that loved his footy. But I think he's also now not. I don't think he's in the picture anymore either. So, not sure what's happened there, but.
Just going back to the forward conversations, just going back to the key forward conversation, 2023 and 2022, like we rotated Mason Cox through the forward line. Brody Myercheck was the pseudo key tall, and I think you're referring 2010 Bruno, Cloak, Dawes, Brown. Like, yeah, Cloak was he was a great key forward, but he was like Cloakey wasn't a superstar key forward and was hard to rely on for the most part of his career, I would argue. So the luxury tay on these key position players is something that can do you, which is probably why teams are so reluctant to go big on them in the draft. And then you can look at examples in how temperamental key position forwards are these days. You think Kernos, you think Mackay's, you think the Mackay brother in the back line as well. Like these types of players, you put big money on them, into them with a great deal of draft capital as well. It is risky business. Whereas a small forward, for example, when you bring them over, at the very least, if they're an elite pressure player, you're going to get that from them at the very least, and the connection. Like that's why Shooter has sort of come into his own. He's been able to rest his game on his pressure factor. Houston is a different case, I would say, but Bobby Hill, pressure checkers when he came in, great pressure player as well. So there are these things to consider. Like Ben King is a great player, but he doesn't scream pressure to me, does he? Or to you guys either, surely.
No, but I mean, it also comes down to roles as well. I mean, if you can have 5 guys put pressure on, I mean, if the 6th guy puts pressure on, obviously it's better, but I think it comes down to roles as well. And if you have certain players are good within their pressure, well, you still need, that tall player to take a contested mark if there's like a pack of 5 or 6 players in a marking contest. So, with someone like a Hill or a Bow or a Schultz, they're not going to be out marking these guys anytime soon in a massive contest of 6+. So that's where you sort of need someone of that's 200 centimeters taking those marks. Yeah.
Still no update, by the way. Just a few seconds ago. Generally harder to reach a decision at the AFL Tribunal than it is to travel through the Strait of Hormuz. Can somebody tell me what that is? What place that is?
I'm assuming
that's where the oil passes. In the Middle East, it's where the oil ships pass through. That's why we have a petrol shortage right now.
Shows how intact I am with the world of politics right now. I in the last couple of months, I think I told you, Ben, I said, mate, you know what? I'm so past looking. I know it affects us as a ripple effect, but I'm well past worrying about what's not in our own backyard. So, I mean, probably just exposes that I really am not in tune with what's happening outside of the four walls of Victoria, at least.
Yeah,
it's a blessing, mate.
Yeah.
Also, I will say back on the people that have lost interest, because I'm not sure where he's been. Shane Wakeland's kid, Tom Wakeland. I want to say he was about 14 because he got interviewed by BT with the Roman BT thing in the 2019 prelim. So obviously that there's been a bit of time that's passed there, but I haven't heard a single word from him since then. So yeah. Just because we hear the names, he was definitely. I remember when he got interviewed, they were definitely talking about him playing local football and he was enjoying his footy. But yeah, just because we hear them and they're the sons of some really good player doesn't necessarily mean that they're. I mean, a few of them could even enjoy their footy, have the passion for footy, but yeah, it doesn't obviously mean that they'll be in the AFL league itself. So, yeah. But yeah, unless he pops out from out of nowhere and it's his draft year next year or something. But I believe he was about 14 around 2019, I think. So you would think that if he's you would think that if he was going to make AFL, we'd probably know it by now.
Hey, I'm serious. Guys, if this deliberation isn't done by 7:25, I might need to tap in Mick Sucker because I've got family commitments at 7:30. So
isn't this like a pre-game stream for the Giants game?
It might turn into that. It might turn into that. I don't know what's going on here. Like I said, Pendles is in bed by 7:30, so it can't be much longer than this, right?
Oh, again, it's you would think that the answer is just extremely obvious for everyone to be in and out in 10 minutes, but that's the AFL and its media. If they can drag shit out, they'll they don't seem to have an issue in doing it.
Well, this is exactly what they want. They're probably it's
like high-fiving people and just being like, how awesome is this?
They're rubbing their crotch right now, checking how many people are looking at this thread right here. They're getting all the clicks. They're milking the Twitters. I could only imagine how many tweets they've done to reinforce what they've posted in the Herald Sun or the Fox Footy tracker. This is exactly what they want.
And so Chris Egan's son, he's a part of the NGA program. Yeah, he's next year as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because then there's Luke DeValley, he's another one, but he missed out on the Oakley Chargers this year. But just because you miss out your bottom age year doesn't mean it's a bit of a harder journey to get there. But it's not impossible. But it's also just setting the expectations. If you got any cash on him to make the AFL league, you'd probably be stressing. But it's definitely not. It's definitely not impossible. So.
Benny, question without notice for you.
Mm-hmm.
What do you make of the limited midfield time for Bo and Jordan De Goey thus far?
Yeah, less than what we predicted. Geordie, I could understand them playing him a bit more forward this weekend, just because it looked like we weren't connecting. So like, oh, let's see if he can pick something off the floor and snap a goal. But Bo, what was he? 3 attendances on the weekend. That's really a lot lower than we thought. We're kind of thinking, look, if there's 20 goals kicked in a match, we want him at least a quarter of them, so 5, 6, 7, plus a few of the openings of the quarter. So out of like the 24 that he could have, he that's quite low. And it looked like we needed an injection quite a few times. And there was another mystery too. Why was Nick not at the centre bounce attendances at the start of the third? He missed a bunch of them and they got a breakaway every time and basically slammed on 3 or 4 goals. I don't know what was happening there. Was he off the field? Was he somewhere else?
He was
I'm
playing
not
wing,
100%
wasn't
sure.
he? I heard something similar that like the role for him in the third quarter was to like play wing or something. Which, if that's true, then that's.
I think there's a
Absolutely.
softball
That's ridiculous,
rotation there that allows
Yeah.
Nick to move as he pleases in a fluid way. Fluent or fluid, one or the other, like in a way where he can sort of move into whichever position he wishes, and confusing the opposition with the matchups. But yeah, look, that conversation sounds eerily similar to the one about Naz and why he's not playing in the midfield at these certain times. You could probably argue, well, why after the first or second center clearance that went against us in that third quarter, why aren't you saying, all right, let's get Nick back in there, let's get Bo back in there? And you know what I was thinking? This whole game, or that whole first half, I'm thinking in my mind, I don't know why, because it was the G, it was against a really good interstate side that we've had some run-ins with over the last, during late last season. I said to myself, I go, this third quarter has Brisbane Collingwood prelim written all over. I hate to say it, but I genuinely felt that going into it. Yeah, it felt like that. We got dominated in stoppage, maybe not so much center clearance against Brisbane in the prelim, but definitely forward 50 stoppages. But then if we want to be critical of the decisions or non-decisions in that third quarter, has to revolve around the fact that we didn't break glass in the case of the emergency and get Nick into the center bounce and throw Bo in there and Geordie. And we have to, you know what? I might even go back and watch that third quarter and see who was attending the center bounces for these clearances that led to Adelaide scores in that third quarter.
Yeah, it definitely felt slow to react, didn't it? Did you all agree? Did you get that feeling as it was happening? Like, why aren't we reacting to this? I said we should have flipped the switch earlier than them. I mean, that's just me from the couch, easy. But, we should be leading the way.
Yep, I agree. Sean?
Yep. Oh, was there a question? Sorry, I was trying to look at the chat. What was the question?
No, you're okay. I'm telling you, it's a skill trying to talk, check the chat, make sure you're actually listening to people in the stream. It's incredibly difficult. And then try, if you have a monitor to your side or you're checking your phone for stats or you're trying to search something up.
Yeah.
It's a very hold on. Scott Pendlebury's charge has been upheld, but his sanction has been changed from 1 match ban to a $3,000 fine due to exceptional and compelling circumstances. So, just to clarify,
he was guilty, so they're saying.
He's guilty, but he gets off on good character and will be asked to pay a $3,000 fine. So the game's gone, but the character saved him.
Yeah, I hate that it saved him. I'm happy that he's off, but this whole thing has been a farce. They need to take a good hard look at themselves, because there's blokes, who do far worse on the field, and there's just because there's no potential to cause damage, they get away with it. It's a bad direction the game's going. Let's just leave it at that. And they've tarnished a bloke who's been exemplary and shouldn't even have been looked at this week. It's ridiculous.
It's bullshit. There was a not a quiz, a poll or whatever that was sent out to fans asking why people did not go to opening round or round one this year. Like there was a 50,000 decrease in attendance. And a lot of it was obviously cost of living, but there was a like 20% towards rule changes and close to 20% due to the political propaganda that they're sort of injecting into the game and the theatrics of it all. And this is all part of it. And this is why the game, while the game on, some people will argue the game is heading towards a good direction, which you could make the case in some ways, but also there is a bit of baggage that needs to be fucking taken off the load sooner rather than later before we all lose faith in shit like this.
Yeah. It's simple. If the fans are unhappy, you have to respond, right? Why are you changing stuff, giving everyone the shots, and then, oh, this is great. No, it's not. People are madder than ever at the game that I can see anyway, And for any opposition,
so we get to what? This started at 5 o'clock. It took 2 hours to come to this conclusion that we knew was going to happen. We know the game's gone. We know this action is, or the outcome to the action of the bump, which we'll probably see it more as a brace. This is just to mitigate risk in the court of law due to what's ongoing behind closed doors. It's been sort of publicly announced, but there's that. And yeah, it's just frustrating. It's just frustrating the way this is all played out. And we could have all predicted what's happened. And while we may not be surprised, we're just disappointed in what we're seeing unfold here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Great. Yeah, it's also Well, so even with the fine, it's like the fact they start with the 1 match ban. The thing that sort of like it's just not sitting well with me is the fact that they're sitting there being like, oh, well, technically we could give you a ban for the 1 match, but it's like it sort of feels like they're kind of doing us a favor, but they're not doing us a favor. But they're trying to come in as like the good guy, but really all you're doing is coming across as just the biggest asshole in the room. Like that's sort of like the way that I'm sort of like reading this, because it's just, oh, well, technically we could suspend you for a week, but we're going to be nice. Yeah, you've done some good things here and there. We'll just give you a bit of a, because you've been such a servant, we will, we will look after you because of you've done all these things. But really, it shouldn't have gone as far as a week anyway. That's probably like my biggest gripe with it is that, it's just the league. The AFL itself is like trying to get a positive spin out of it, and they're trying to be, we did this really nice thing for you. But it's like, but what did you do though? You didn't do anything. If anything, you made the situation more difficult that you then fixed, but it only made it more difficult because you made it more difficult and then you gave us the solution.
It's a win for Collingwood, but it's a win for Collingwood and specifically Pendles within its immediacy, but it's a big fucking L in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, it's like basically you created the problem, but then you made a product and the product fixed the solution, but the solution meant you had to give a certain obviously the AFL doesn't have I'm talking more for if you look at any companies that are selling, especially anything like technology wise, and the technology doesn't work. We'll make this product that's $20, but it'll fix everything that you have. But the reason why you have that problem is because we made this device defective because of it. But if you buy this $20 thing, everything will fix it, will I fix it, even though you should have a working product in the first place. Probably went on a little bit of a tangent, but it's like, like trying to, it's like, I don't know. It's like they're trying to say, oh, we fixed your solution. It's like, well, you created the problem in the first place. So what did you really fix?
Yep. All right. Anyways, guys, I hate to end this stream right now, but I do have to go. So I will leave you guys with it. Benny and Sean, I say goodbye to you guys first. Thank you for joining us
Mate,
and patiently waiting this painful result. Appreciate
thanks
you.
for joining us. Thanks, mate.
All right. See you, Ben. See you, Sean. Done. The lads. And yeah, guys, I mean, a win for Collingwood, but an L for the AFL and its future. We're not surprised. Didn't have faith in the system. It is what it is. Let's just let's take the result as Collingwood fans, and that's all we can do. All right, I appreciate you all, and as always, ladies and gentlemen, go.
Who a champ, that's the king, Pendlebury, take off like they cost, give the man a chance, the fly we trust,